right, everybody, this is today's project, and if you are familiar with my channel, you are definitely familiar with this project. We are back at the snake pond from hail, and our goal here today is to try to clear this. And this is like a, well, if you were to go down to the end down there, it starts off as like a little narrow ditch. That's all it is. And then as it comes down, it like widens out to this like kind of depression low area in there, and it's hard for me to tell what's in there because it's so thick I can't even see. But you can see how it kind of rolls around like that, and then it kind of cuts back that way at an angle, and then kind of forms a V at the very end. And at the very end down there, it's not more than 4 feet wide, and then it just, as it kind of comes this way, it balloons out, and then it narrows back down to a little V right here too. So the owner wants this cleared. I don't even know if I can drive down into that thing. I know the ground drops off down in there, but I just don't know how bad it is. So I don't know what we're looking at in there. So my goal here is to kind of just clear the edges so I can get an idea of what's in there. So that's, I'm gonna work my way down this edge, kind of start where those taller trees are right about over there, and just start mulching all that down and see what we got, and if I can even drive down in there or not. So I'm limping along with one GoPro today. I had my Hero 8 out on the counter last night, and Missy accidentally spilled a drink, and I have that media mod, and I took the media mod cover off, and so the GoPro was open and a bunch of water got inside of it, and it basically killed it. So I think Misty's gonna try to go over to Best Buy. She's got my credit card, and she's gonna try to go to Best Buy and get me another credit card or another Hero 8. But for today, I'm limping along with one GoPro. So why I gave my wife to be my credit card, I'll never know. We'll see if that turns out to be a good idea or not. She might come back with half of Best Buy in her car. We'll see. So we'll, I don't know. I guess we'll go ahead and get started and see what we find in here. My guess is as good as yours. So hopefully no snakes, but we'll find out. Okay, so far so good. I got basically from like right about where the machine is sitting to down there in about a little less than 30 minutes. So I'm really happy with that progress. Most of this stuff in here, at least through here, it's thick, but it's fairly small stuff. I mean, it's like 3/4 of an inch or so at the bottom, an inch and a half. I mean, it's fairly small stuff. The ground, main thing I was concerned about was the ground being soft. It's a little soft. We've had some rain, and that's a big thunder cloud right there kind of heading this way, so we'll see if it does rain. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and try to clear this side too really quick down to about where I stopped, and that'll give me a little bit better idea of what I'm dealing with on this side, because I feel a little bit more confident about going down in here. This ground's not too bad. It's a little sloped, which I'll just have to be a little careful with depending on how it slopes when you got that much weight on the end of this thing. But it's going along. Hopefully I can time lapse some of this thing. The GoPro's been kind of cutting off because it's overheating, but I'm gonna, or at least this Hero 6 has been doing that, but I'm gonna try to time lapse some of this, and hopefully it doesn't overheat and we can get some more footage. So stay tuned and let's see what we can do. look at this bird. He showed up. I mean, he's like right next to the machine, and he is eating the hell out of some bugs. He literally walked like right up next to the track while I was mulching. I watched him like grab a grasshopper. He's out here eating the heck out of some bugs and all this grass and stuff. Look, there he goes. Go on. Oh, there he goes. He's hunting for something. Anything he can find. There's so many bugs and all this stuff. I've had these birds come around several times on some of these mulching jobs. They're kind of cool. They have no fear of these machines either. I see those birds around a lot around cattle around here. They must think this thing's like a big cow or something. All right, well, we're just about done for the day. I'm about to wrap it up. I'll show you guys what I got done. All right, guys. There it is for today. Man, I got a lot more done in here today than what I originally thought I was gonna get done. But I'm very happy with the progress. I left those 2 willow trees right there because they look nice. And mulching willow trees is a pain in the butt. They don't mulch very well. The wood fiber in them is really soft and stringy. And so they just kind of like just shred up into a mess, and then it kind of wraps into the mulcher and bogs it down, and they're just a pain to mulch. But this is just a sea of a lot of gums with some wax myrtles and some red maples and willows kind of mixed into it, but it's a lot of gum trees. And the main issue with these gum trees, and I don't want to walk around too much because I got into a bed of ground bees over there. Luckily I was in this cab. But the issue with the gum trees is, and like kind of like right in there's like a good example, is they kind of grow, like you'll have like a dozen of them. Like there was one patch of them that like right there is actually a good example too. See, they're all kind of sticking up right there. Like 4 or 5 or 6 or even like a dozen of them will grow out of like one little stump. And they, like if you get like a dozen or like 10 and they're all like an inch in diameter, they don't seem like they're that big, but when you put them all together, that's like trying to mulch a 12-inch tree, and it's a pain. And so it was but most of this stuff is small, and so I'm not really having to fight too hard with it as far as it like being big in diameter. But it's just really thick. Like, I mean, you couldn't walk in there if you wanted to. I mean, it's so thick. I mean, it's just a wall of stuff. So like that's a big wax myrtle there. I wish it was mostly wax myrtles. Those things mulch very, very easily. But this is definitely getting the job done. Is it as efficient as a skid steer? No. And while I've got you guys for a minute, well, let's talk about sort of the efficiency issue. Like that, I get a lot of comments like, you know, hey, you need to get a, you know, that would be better for a skid steer, you know, with a mulcher. And for this job, yes. But if you had a skid steer with a mulcher in here and someone else was doing this and I was watching it, well, I could say, well, you know, a dedicated machine with 200 or 300 horsepower would be, you know, way more efficient than that skid steer, you know. So, but you got to understand cost too, is the bigger the machine, like bigger typically in this kind of industry, bigger typically means more efficient as far as getting stuff done. But you also have to account for more efficiency equals more cost, because you got a bigger machine, which will either cost more or it's going to cost more to rent, and it's also going to burn more fuel, and it might have a bigger head with a lot more teeth, so that's more overhead. So you're going to have to charge more per hour as well for that. So is this getting the job done? Yes. Is it as efficient as like a skid steer or a dedicated machine? No, but I'm not charging the same rates because I've got a smaller machine that's burning a lot less fuel. I've only got 20 teeth on that head as compared to 30 or 40 teeth on a head. So, and I'm also not having to get a lowboy to bring it over here, because it's a, you know, if I had a big machine, you know, like a dedicated machine or a large excavator with a mulcher head on it, so I'm not having to pay for trucking fees and passing that on to the client. So there's a whole different range of ways you could go about doing this job. I didn't bring the skid steer because honestly I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought I was going to be mulching a ditch. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do all of this, because I thought there might be a lot of water in here, and there might still be. I mean, this grade is going down a good way, so there might be water in the middle of that I haven't even found yet. I kind of went ahead and mulched this line out through here because the end of it is right down there, and when you get to the end, the whole thing is not more than 3 feet wide. So this kind of, you can see it kind of tapers down that way. So we're getting really good progress. Once I basically get the rest of this to that line right about there, it's, you know, it's going to be pretty easy from there. I think, you know, the majority of it's going to be done. So I got all this done in about 6 hours today. I'm really happy with it. I got a little bit of a late start, and then I had about 30 or so minutes of having to sharpen the teeth, and then I threw the track on this side as well. So that was another 30-ish minutes walking back to get the truck at the hill and bringing it around here and getting all my tools out and all that stuff. So, but it worked out, and we're making good progress. Mulcher's getting the job done, and we're making headway. So I will be back here tomorrow, though. I've got to go over to the client's house. He's got some stuff over there around his house he wants mulched a little bit, and he says it's wisteria, and that stuff is, it's like trying to mulch nylon rope. If you've never gotten into it, pray that you don't ever, because even with a mulcher, I've gotten into some wisteria and it'll just wrap up around this thing. It's horrible. So we'll see what that's about, but I'm gonna load this thing up and get out of here for the day. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. I'm out.